Thank you for joining us today at Serpent Crafts. Welcome back to part 2 of the beautiful crocheted A-line dress that we're making. It is finished and we have documented all of the finishing for you so you can finish your project as well. We pray that everyone enjoys and is blessed by this project and this process, and we give glory to God. Magnalia Dei. Okay, so what we did is we fastened off from the main part of the directions for the main part of the dress. Now we're in the shape armholes first row, so we're on the right side. We're supposed to skip 1 5 double crochet and 1 V-stitch and join with a slip stitch to the middle crochet of the next 5 V-stitch. I'm sorry, not V-stitch. Next 5 double crochet. I attach with a slip stitch, chain 1 it says, and 1 single crochet in the same space. So we're going to single crochet in that space. Okay. 5 double crochet in the next V-stitch, just like we always do, and V-stitch in the center of the next, and repeat to the last 2 double crochet 5 groups. So this is 1 and this is 2. So right here we're going to single crochet in that center and turn so it will match exactly the other side. So let's go across this row here as normal. 1 single crochet in the center double crochet of the 5 double crochet groups. So 1 2, so right here 1 single crochet and turn. Now slip stitch in the first single crochet, so slip stitch in that single crochet and then 3 doubles. 1 2 3. Chain 1 and single crochet in that same space as the last slip stitch. Okay, now we're going to put the 5 doubles in this next V-stitch. Okay, and we're going to repeat the pattern across, ending with a 5 double crochet, ending with 5 double crochet in the chain 1 space of the last V-stitch, so that's right there, and single crochet in the center of the last 5 doubles. So 5 double crochet and then 1 2 3, we're going to put a single crochet right there, turn. Repeat the last row, it says for me, 3 times more. Okay, this is what it looks like here. These are the armholes where we're shaping here. Okay, and so now we're on the next row. We've done, we did row 2 once and then 3 more repeats. So now we are on what they say is the next, it just says next row, and it says chain 3 right here. 1 2 3. Oh, I have help reading my pattern. Maybe he'll help me hold the book open. Chain 3, V-stitch in the center double crochet of the next 5 group. So here's our chain 3. are going to V-stitch in this center double crochet, and then 5 double in the next V-stitch, and then repeat the pattern across to the last 5 double crochet group right here. So we're going to repeat the pattern across to here, the last 5 double crochet, and we're going to V-stitch in the top of this and 1 double crochet in that that center, in the single crochet that we did right there. And then I will work evenly in the pattern until it measures 6 inches from the armhole, and that's going to be this measurement right here from this corner edge of the armhole up. And right now I'm already at 1, 2.5 inches, so it's going to need to measure 6. So we'll come back then, and I'll be ready to do the shape back neck first row. Try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we're just a hair over 6 right there. And that does, you know, because you have to stop on the right side or the wrong side, so that does happen. Don't worry too much. It's going to come out in the adjustment that we make, because we're going to finish this neck edge based on inches, not rows. So that way we come out okay. So we're all good. Here we go. It says to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then V-stitch in the center double crochet of this group of 5, then 5 doubles in the next V-stitch, and we're supposed to repeat that twice. Okay, so V-stitch, 5 group, V-stitch, 5 group, and then it says single crochet in the center double of the next 5 double crochet group. So 1, 2, 3, single crochet, and turn. Leave the rest of these stitches unworked. So we're going to turn our work here. And row 2, we're going to slip stitch in this single crochet right here. And, oops, don't split the yarn. I'll try that again. That did not work. Okay, so we're going to slip stitch in this single right here. And each of the next 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3. Now it says chain 1 and single crochet in this same space. Okay. 5 doubles in the V-stitch and V-stitch in the, okay, so row 3, turn our work again, 3 chains, and we're going to V-stitch in the center of this group of 5, and 5 in this next V-stitch, V-stitch in the top of this group of 5, 1 double crochet in the last single crochet, which was right down here. 1 double crochet, yep, right here. Okay, so this is what you have. Your chain, 3 chain, a V-stitch, a group of 5, a V-stitch, and then a double in this single crochet from the last row. Now it says it should have 1.5 repeats. So here's V-stitch, shell, that's 1.5 is the V. So we're right there. Continue even in shell pattern until armhole measures 8 inches. We're going with this center. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, so continue even in the shell pattern until it measures 8 inches. And then we're going to fasten off and come back to do the other side. Okay, here we are. I finished, I think it was only about 3 rows. Brought me to 8. So here I am. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm right here at the top of this, just a little bit perfect, pretty much there. So go. Now with the wrong side of work facing, see, we were here. Miss, see, this is our last row right here. So it says that we're going to miss this next V-stitch and this 5 in this 5 group, and we're going to do that twice. So that's 1, 2, and now here we're at the miss the next V-stitch, and we're going to join right here in the top with a slip stitch in the top of the center double crochet in this 5 group. So get my act together here. Okay, so we missed V double, V double, V, and we're going to join in this top. With a slip stitch. Then it says here, chain 1 and single crochet, chain 1, my tail's in the way, and single crochet in that same space. Okay. Then we're going to 5 double, we're going to finish out this row. The next row, now we need to turn. And the next row we're going to chain 3, five doubles in the V-stitch space, and V in the center double crochet of the next 5, stitch in the center, 5 here, and then a single crochet in the center of this group of 5, right there, and turn. And now we're ready for the next row. We're going to chain 3, and it says V-stitch in the center of this 5 is that we should have 1.5 repeats, which we do. Here's a V and a shell, and then the V, so that's 1, and there's the half. Okay, and it says we're going to continue in this pattern until it measures 8 inches, and then we're going to fasten off. Okay. So I will catch you back. We're going to fasten off when this measures 8 inches. And then we are going to begin to work on the front. And the front, it says you're going to work from double star to double star, just like the back. So we're going to start here like the back. We're going to do the same number of chains. We're going to work this row, these rows, and doing those repeats like we've done for the back. We're even going to get to the shape the armholes, and we're going to go all the way through that for the front, just like the back, until we get to here at the end of the shaping the armholes. And now for the So we're going to stop right here. And so here it says for the back to continue until it measures 6 inches. For the front, we're going to continue in the armhole pattern until it measures 4 inches. And then we're going to go down to the shape the neck. So I won't repeat any of that with you until we get to right here, until I finish the continue the shell pattern with the armhole measuring 4 inches. Then we'll come back for the front shape the neck. Catch you back there. All right, we're ready to start the neck shaping. We're on the wrong side row. See, here's our right side, here's our wrong side. And it says to start with a chain 3, which we've got here, and now V-stitch into the center of this 5 double group, and 5 doubles in this chain. And we're going to repeat that 3 times. So we're going to do 3 of those groups, and then we're going to turn and leave it go. Okay, so V-stitch, 5 doubles, V-stitch, 5, 2, 3. Okay, so we did that 3 times. 1 single crochet the center double of the next 5 groups. So 1, 2, 3, a single crochet, and turn. Leave the remaining stitches unworked. Now we're going to the second row, right? So let's turn. Here we go. Slip stitch in the first single crochet in each of the next 3 doubles. So we're going to slip into this single right here, and 1, 2, 3. Chain 1 and single crochet in the same space as the last that last slip stitch. 5 doubles in this next V and over to the edge. Oops, back here. All right, chain 3. V-stitch in the center of this 5 double group, and 5 doubles in the next V-stitch. And it says to do that twice. So there's 1 V-stitch, 1 5 group, and then 1 single crochet in the center of this 5 group. Right there. And turn. We're ready to start the 4th row. Now it says to slip stitch in the single crochet and the next 3 doubles. So here's 1 slip in the single, and 1, 2, 3, chain 1 and single crochet right in that same space. Can you see this curve that's beginning to be made here for the front neck edge? Looks like we have 1 more row. Chain 3. Turn here. One, 2, 3. V-stitch in the center of this double. 5 doubles in this chain 1 space as to put a V-stitch in this center of this 5 group. and single crochet in the last single crochet, which was right here from before. Okay, turn. We should have 1.5 pattern repeats. So we've got a V and a shell, that's one pattern, and a V is a half. So we do have exactly what they want. And now it says to continue even in the shell pattern until the armhole measures, for us it's going to be this gray one, 8 inches there. Okay, we are on the wrong side of the fabric. Oops, we are going to work where we attach. We're going to miss a V-stitch and a 5. So here's a V-stitch and a 5 right there. We're going to miss that. But then it says just do that once and then miss this V-stitch, and that would indicate starting here. But then they tell us at the end that we're supposed to do this 5 doubles and a V-stitch 3 times. So if I did that, if I joined it right here, I would only be able to do 5 doubles V, 5 doubles V twice. So that can't be right. So I am going to join the V-stitch here, which means that I'm going to only miss this V-stitch right here and join in the next 5 and chain 1 and single crochet. I don't remember, I've made this before, and I don't remember having so many troubles interpreting the pattern as I seem to feel that I'm having now. But there's always ways to look at your work and to figure it out and to make it come out like what they're asking. So there's my attach. Here's my first of my 5. And I'll do that 1, 2, 3 V-stitch and then a double crochet at the end of that row. And that's exactly what they're asking for in this first row. Now we'll try this next row here. We turn and we do 3 chains. Stitch and a single crochet right here, and that in the center of this last of the third group of 5, and that will put us right there and ready to turn. Okay, so and that's the last of the 5 doubles, and then we put a single crochet right here. And turn and go to the next row. And we're going to chain 3. V-stitch in the center of this group and 5 in this V-stitch, and we're going to do that twice. We're ready to turn back to the other side. And we are up here. So we are going to chain 3. We're going to put 5 doubles in this V-stitch and a V-stitch in the top, 5 doubles here, and a single crochet in the center of that. Okay, so we're ready to turn. And so it says we're going to chain 3, and we're going to V-stitch in the top of the, we should have 1.5 repeats, which we do. We've got a V and a 5 group and a V, so that's 1.5 groups. It says to continue in the shell pattern until the armhole measures 8 and then finish off and fasten off, sorry. And then we're going to be ready to start putting it together. So it does say that we should pin the garment pieces to the measurements that it's supposed to be, that we know it to be, cover with a damp cloth, and leave the cloth to dry. Then we're going to sew the shoulders and the side seams together. And that covering with the cloth, being that this is cotton fabric, or cotton, it is fabric now, we've made it into fabric, is a really good idea, because that's going to help you to make sure that the garment is, the stitches have evened themselves out and that they are all in the places where they should be. Here is the back. It has been finished. I remember I put a white marker on the back, plus I can see the neck edge there is different than the front, which is right here. This is the right side of the front, and I can see that the neck edge here is deeper, just a little bit deeper there. So what I have done is laid them flat on my table, my dining room table, put a damp towel over top and let them sit there overnight, and then till they dried. And I did, after that, weave in all the ends. I hope I got them all. That is one small downside to this, the Patton's yarn, is that it only has 136 yards on a skein, which means you're changing and doing a lot more skeins. So that means more ends to weave in. So in order to begin to stitch this together, we want right side, so that's the right side facing us of the front, and here is the right side of the back. Now I have left these 2 strings at the shoulder seams because I will use these to sew the shoulder seams. So I want to put right sides together. So here's my right side mark. So I actually have the wrong side facing me of the back and the right side facing me of the front. And we're going to match the sides, match the shoulders. The first thing is the shoulders. So I use my stitch markers like pins for sewing, and I use them to grab the edge, the very edge of this shoulder and of that shoulder right there, and put them together, and these 2 edges, and put them together. So I will be able to just sew those using this yarn that I left attached. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to pick up this chain 3 is where you want to be sure you're going into, and that chain 3, and the same thing over here. That last double and this chain 3. So thread up your needle, and it's really just going to be a whip stitch through as many stitches as you can, and I try to catch each stitch if it's possible, and try to get, and then I unthread my needle. on actually the inside. This seam is going to be on the inside of the garment because we have our right sides facing one another. And I just stitch through the tops of each stitch, trying to get a secure, so you get at least 2 threads from each side, if that makes sense. So it's like this V-stitch on this side and this V-stitch on this side. So I've got a good anchor there. And just try to work in each stitch. Because your garment will only be as secure as you're stitching to hold it together. So this is my last stitch. I did 1 knot there. I'm going to go through it again and put a second knot. Yep, I almost missed it. Second knot tight there. And then I go, see if you open it up, you can see the seam virtually disappears. It's really kind of amazing. But then you can take your thread and weave your end right back through where you stitched and get that really nice and secure in there. And snip it off, and that shoulder seam is done. Going to do the same thing with the other shoulder. Let me show you what it looks like on the right side. If I turn it, it almost disappears. It's right there. But really, unless you're really knowing what to look for, you really won't find it. It's pretty much gone. So we'll do the same thing on the other shoulder seam. And then we're going to do the same thing down the sides. And I use my stitch markers again, going down the sides of the garment. And this, of course, I'm going to have to thread up a full thread of yarn there. And I start with 1 at the top, and then you need to put 1 to match the hems, because you certainly don't want the hem to not match up when we get down there. So we're going to match up the hem. There we go. And then I go through and put them fairly spaced apart to want to work with the right side facing. Here's the right side. And we're going to use the smaller hook. So remember back here, it said a 3.5 or a 4. So, not or, and. So we need to get out the 3.5, which is one of my favorites, right there, for this edging. And setting up the edging is the part that creates the greatest anxiety for most people. So it says, with right side of work facing and the smaller hook, join the yarn with a slip stitch to the left shoulder. So we're going to join it up here to the left shoulder. And work, for me, it's going to be 92, because I'm doing this large single crochet evenly around the neck edge, join with a slip stitch to the first. That is the hardest thing to do, but let me show you how to do it and make it so much easier. So we want to end up with 92 stitches. So I'm going to my calculator here. 92 divided by 4 equals 23 stitches even. Now, gauging 23 stitches over a space between stitch markers and stitch marker is not too hard, but trying to gauge 96 or 92, That's tough over the whole distance. So this is what I do. I take my stitch markers, and we know that this seam in the shoulder seam, and this shoulder seam are going to be, here it is right here, are going to be our two opposite points in this. Now, if we bring those two stitch markers together and we fold it out, and we find, where is that going to be? Right here. I'm going to put a stitch marker right there. And now we find the other spot. So we've actually divided the neck edge into 4 even pieces. And then I'm going to evenly space single crochets along the edge 23 until I get to this stitch marker. 23, 23, and 23. And according to my math, it says that will give us 92 stitches. So let's get started. We're going to start at the left shoulder. It says, and we want to be working on the right side of the garment. So we know we have our right side marker right here. And if I'm looking at the garment, this is going to be the left shoulder. Really doesn't matter left or right, but pick one, make that the left. And we will start with a single crochet right there. And these are neither tight nor loose. They're just, your goal is just to make them evenly spaced. So I did a slip stitch and joined it right there. I'm going to start with my first single crochet in that same space, and then I'm going to put my stitch marker right into it so that I'm good with my count. So there's one stitch marker in. And you'll find a rhythm of little things that you notice about the fabric, and where you can put stitches that will kind of evenly place them across. And so this first section you may actually pull out and do a couple times till you get it to where you feel like it's even, but then that will help you for the future sections too. And there's your first section, 23. You know you can count them from your stitch markers. And then I'm going to start number 1 right where this stitch marker is and count. Put so because I'm doing the large, I'm going to do the 94. And so I need my phone again. I think it's going to be 23 and a half, which then when that happens, let's see, clear it out. We want 94 divided by 4. Yep, 23 and a half. So when I get that, I do 23 for one and 24 for the next group, and then 23 for the third group and 24 for the fourth group. Okay, here we are with the garment. The top half is finished. We have not done the hem, but you can see the arm edgings are done. The neck edging is done, and I have laid it here because I've consulted the pattern diagram here, and it says that just under the armpits, or the armhole openings, which is, you know, an inch or two, it should measure 21.5 across. So I wanted you to be able to see that because of our swatch texture block, that I am right at the edge of number 1 right here, and I come over here and I am at, here's 21, I am exactly at 21.5. So this is going to measure, this bodice across here is going to measure the 43 inches that the pattern says that it will measure exactly. And all right, we're at the final exciting part, and that is beginning the hem, or the lower edging. And it says with the right sides facing us and the larger hook. So we're going to go back to that G hook, which I have in my other bag there. And we are going to start with a slip stitch. We're going to join it with a slip stitch at the left side seam. So over here. And we're going to work, for me, 126 single crochet evenly across the lower edge of the back, and then the same number evenly across the lower edge of the front. And we're going to join it together with a slip stitch, and for me, I will have 252 single crochets there. So back to our calculations and dividing it up so that we are trying to figure out how to evenly space 126 stitches. So we're going to divide that by 4, and I get 31.5. So I would have 31, and then 32, and then 31, and then 32. And that's how I would work around the bottom of the hem, just on the back. So let's look at that. Where am I? I've got the front, so I want to be on the back side here. Okay, so to begin, we are going to mark the side seam right here. And the other side seam, which is right here. And we are working on the right side of the garment. Okay, now we're going to put those two together, those two side seams. And that's going to give us a point right over here that we can mark. And then if we bring one of the side seams to that center point that we just marked, and make sure that we get it pulled out straight and even, then we've got a quarter of the way point to mark. And then we can do the same thing with this other side seam. We'll take this marker to the side seam and to the center marker, and that gives us another mark here. Now that's 4 sections marked. 1, 2, 3, 4 sections marked on the back. So we know that we're going to go 31, 32, 31, 32. I did 31, 32, 31, 32, and then repeat 31, 32, 31, 32. We're going to chain 1 and single crochet in the same space as our slip stitch. So chain 1 and single crochet in that same space as the last slip stitch. Chain 4 and miss 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and miss 1, 2, 3. 1 single crochet in the next. So in that 4th, we're going to single crochet. And we're going to do that all the way around. So And this is what it looks like. You can see here is the single crochet row right here, and then here's our row with the chains. So we've got a third, a fourth, and a fifth row. So third row, slip stitch in the next chain 4 loop, chain 1. Okay. So here's where I joined together with a slip stitch. So I'm going to slip stitch into that loop and chain 1. 5 single crochet in the same loop as the slip stitch, 5 single crochet in the next chain 4 loop and around. So we're going to just put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go into the next chain loop and do the same thing. Okay, that's the third round done. You can see that in each of the chain loops there's the 5 single crochets there. It's probably easier to see it like that. All right. Fourth round. Yes, this has got a long explanation, so let's see what we've got. It says slip stitch in each of the next 2 single crochets. So I've already slip stitched into this one. So 1 and 2. I think that puts us in the center. Yep, that's the center of the 5. So it says now to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. I've lost count. Okay, so I've got this one here. So I'm going to yarn over, draw, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, and then now it says yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook. Okay, so that's essentially 1, 2, 3. Now it says I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and yarn over, draw up, yarn over through 2, and do that 3 times. Yarn over, draw through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, draw through, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. There, that's a cluster stitch, it says. And then it says cluster, chain 3, cluster, all in the center single crochet of the next 5 single crochet group, and repeat from that star. So we're going to go to here, we're going to yarn over, and we're going to go 1, 2, this is the third one, and we're going to do the cluster, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, draw up, pull through 2, and then pull through all through everything. And then it says do 1, 2, 3 chains and another cluster in the same space. Yarn over, pull up, draw through 2, yarn over, pull up, draw through 2, yarn over, pull up, draw through 2, and draw through everything else. And that makes the cluster stitch with a slip stitch. Now we're going to slip stitch in the next 2 chains. 1, So we're in the center chain of the chain 3. Now we're going to chain 1 and single crochet in here. Now we're going to go to the next chain 3 space right here, and that's where we're going to start our trebles. So 1, chain 1, 2, chain 1, 3, chain 1, 4, chain 1, 5, chain 1, and a final treble to finish the fan. And then in this next chain 3 space, we're going to put a single crochet. So you can see there's a single crochet, there's the 6 trebles with chain 1s in between, and the next single crochet. Here is the finished dress. This is the top, the bodice, the neck edge, the arms, and as I bring it up so you can see the beautiful hem. So it's single and you can see it better. Between my hair, which is gray, and the cat's hair, there's lots of hair to get off of this. But here is the beautiful hem. It's really just such a lovely detail. Well, there it is, hanging with a red top and a red skirt that I had here underneath. I will give you a better close-up of it as I bring it over here, but the red is beautiful. You could also, of course, put like white, which would be a really nice monochrome kind of an outfit, but you could almost literally change it every time you wore it with a different something underneath. And again, if it's cold out and you wanted to put long sleeves, maybe even a turtleneck under it, that would be a great option. Pretty much really, really versatile. So here you can see how the red top comes through. It actually is kind of orange. Comes through the fabric. I don't have the skirt adjusted quite right. It's a little bit longer, but you could even do that. You could let the hem of whatever you wear underneath it come out below to give more of an accent, or you can tuck it in and make sure that it lines up just right. But that's really kind of what the fabric ends up looking like, with the red underneath and the top. That is the beautiful A-line dress for all seasons, crocheted, handmade by you, by me, by anyone who decides to go for it. Thanks for watching. I'm glad you were along with us on the ride. If you like to see crochet clothing and garment construction are some of my favorites, are my favorite things to do. So if that happens to appeal to you, please let me know. I've got more beautiful garments that I can make and that we can make together. Have a blessed day and Magnalia Day. Glory to God.